Hello, everybody. It's Gary Stuckey with Real Music. Hope you're doing okay wherever you are today. Got a great show lined up for you. Legendary singer, songwriter, and guitarist Mark Farner is here. You know him from Grand Funk Railroad, formerly, and he's got a brand new album coming out November the 8th called Closer to My Home, with a remake of that classic song. I'm going to talk about that and a lot more. So here we go. Here's Mark Farner. I've been listening to the new album, although it's not coming out to November the 8th. Close to My Home.
All right.
And great album. It's got a lot of soul and a lot of rock and a lot of emotion.
All right.
What you're feeling these days? I mean, what are you feeling these days?
I'm feeling like it's time for love to stand up. It really is. And it's in this music, and the music stands proud, just as I do. Thank God. I'm 76 on the 29th of this month, and still singing the songs in the same key I wrote them in, brother.
It sounds good. I mean, I know you redid Closer to My Home, I'm Your Captain. And I was like, is that's not the original, but it's close. I mean, you sound the same. I mean, that's not fair to a lot of these guys. They're like, man, it sounds good, though. It really does sound good.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. The difference between the original and this re-record, the major difference is that the original was in American standard tuning, which is A440. That's what concert pitch is. But that was switched from A432 in 1953 to A440. I couldn't tell you why. But I went back to A432 because I had a representation, a visual representation of what the difference of those frequencies are and how A440 is not really in tune with nature. And I would rather be in tune with nature. Hence the re-record of this number one, I'm Your Captain, in 432, so that people can not only hear it, that I'm still singing it in the same key, but they can feel the difference, because when something's not rubbing against you, it's going into you. The frequencies I'm talking, and frequencies are very important to our understanding.
Right. That's a good point, and I hadn't thought about that till you brought that up. We may have talked about it in the past, but that tuning, it's like a heavenly tuning. I mean, surely, God probably, intended for everything to be in harmony. There's a certain notes that blend together. But you said you didn't know why they stopped it. There's got to be some reason that maybe everything was going too much in tune, and they're like, we got to stop this madness.
Yeah. It's some evil thing.
It has to be, right?
Yeah.
Well, I know John Lennon and Jimi Hendrix played in that tuning for their song. So it's like they must have known something that right?
Well, I think I've been telling everybody. People have kind of kept it hush hush. The song by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Ohio, was cut in 432. I discovered it when I was trying to learn that lick, that opening lick. I was playing it, and I'm always tuned to 432. I'm playing it, and I went, hey, this thing's in tune with that. It's like they recorded in 432. So you're right. Some famous songs by famous people were recorded in 432, and my whole album is, and my stage presentation is, and everything that I've done for the last 15 years is, and will continue to be until I suck my last breath.
Maybe that'll be a long, long time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I hear you.
Some people, I was reading earlier, somebody said that's conspiracy about all this theory with the perfect, and this. But I'm thinking conspiracy. Noah was a conspiracy theorist until a flood came.
That's right, brother.
So
good example.
just throw that out there. Okay, but the album, Sounds really awesome. And I think the last time I talked to you, you said Mark Slaughter was going to help you on some new music. So this is what that is, right? So he helped out.
This is it. And Slaughter, man, after spending time with him, getting to know him better, I knew him, from the times we encountered each other on the road or when we were doing rock and roll fantasy camp. And I knew I really was his brother, and he knew that I was his brother. I mean, we just knew, and
Right.
we have that level. Besides liking what somebody does, how they represent with the talent that God gave them. Besides that, there is a natural affection and an attraction between Mark and I to work together for the good of love,
Yeah.
for the grace that comes from this record. And I think that God put us together for that reason. And as I listen and I'm hearing people's reaction, Brother Gary, it's just more confirmation. I'm confirmed, confirmed, confirmed. Yeah.
Sure. Well, let this be a confirmation. It is. It sounds great. And the Anymore song is, like you said, confirmation that y'all worked on that song together. And it's all these songs are in your face. It's kind of like if they're not really kind of directing you to a certain you know feeling, a strong feeling, they're tugging at your heart. And I know there's songs on there, uh, like Tiny Fingers. They're you don't when you start listening to it, you don't really understand what's going on, but like all of a sudden you just have these emotions. Your voice, I know that there's not a lot of music on there. There's what, guitar and keyboard,
Yeah.
but like the emotion of your singing, you talk about that voice that you've had for all these years is coming out and grabbing you and taking you to this place, obviously a painful place, but it sounds like you're healing. And I was thinking about, when you write songs, it's a healing process. When people listen to those songs, it's a healing process. When you join together with people, you're doing that. You're writing songs that relate to people. And when you cry, toxins come out of your body. That's what's happening with this song, though. Can you tell me the story about this song?
That's a beautiful thing, man. I could tell you the story. I wrote this song must be 20 years ago, at least 20 years ago. The keyboard player that was in my solo band at that time, Paul Ojibwe, he's native too, and he kept telling me and encouraging me, Farner, man, you got to record that song. You have to record that song. That song is huge. That song, and Paul, uh, he's been a local musician in Michigan. He's played for the last 20 years here at weddings and bars and wherever he can get a gig, he plays. Um, and he's gone through some changes in his life. Well, during all of this, uh, allocation to life and the planet, his daughter, his 20 some year old daughter, lost her life. And, when Jesse died in 2018, I felt like Paul was talking to me. I could hear him talking to me. So I called him up and I said, brother, I'm doing this record with Mark Slaughter, and all it needs is you and me. And because of where his heart is, and because of where his sensitivity is with the loss of his child, I knew that he had to be the one. I said, you've been after me all these years, Paul, to do this song. And if you can come to the session, if you can bring your stuff, let's record it. So he came to the studio, he brought his stuff, his keyboards and stuff, and it was just him and I. There was no other engineers or any other production people. It's just Paul and I in the studio, in the room. And we're laying down first. I put a guitar track down for him to follow. And I did like a little rough vocal so he'd know where we were at, in the song. And he's playing along, and when he would hit these notes, Gary, it was just like him, reaching in there and grabbing my heart. And, oh my God, I said, that's the chord. That's the chord. Don't play anything but that when you get there. Oh my God, that's it. That's beautiful. And he did. And he was having a little bit of emotional, not a problem, but just emotional uh, interruptions in the flow. But it was necessary.
Wow.
It was absolutely necessary to capture the hearts of two dads who lost their children. And I tell this story to you, brother. You know about Jesse, but Paul has the same feelings, and when we finally got done putting the tracks down, I did a vocal track, because up until we had it down, anytime I'd start to play it, I would just cry so much that I couldn't get it done. I never could get it done. And that's the only reason that I really didn't record it for all these years that I have had it. It's been in the file. I just couldn't pull it out because I couldn't pull it off. But God gave me the strength to do it. And when Paul and I heard it back and we knew this was it,
Yeah.
dude, we just sobbed on each other. We held each other and just let the tears come rolling. They were pouring out of us. And there was such a healing. Man, there was a healing going on in that room. I wish the world could touch that healing, could get a piece of that healing. And I think the song's going to bring about that healing, that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And people are going to understand, because it is in the utter innocence of that we prayed before we got started. We gave it to God.
Right.
God is love, and love inhabits these praises. Love inhabits. This is praise to God that we could be set free together in playing this song and recording it and presenting it to people who want a touch, who need a touch from God.
Right. And I believe that's going to happen. There's a reason for everything. I do believe when they hear that song, there's going to be some people that are going through some similar things, and maybe they're just sick and need some healing. But all hurt is inside of you. It's got to come out. And the best way for it to come out is to pray and to get rid of shed tears and just think of all the hurt that you still holding on to. There's nothing you can do about what has happened.
Exactly.
And I remember in David in the Bible, when his son died,
oh man,
he had ashes and he was sad and he's kneeling down, and then his son died. He got up and went about his business. His friends were like, "The heck? Why is he acting so happy?" He said, "There's nothing I can do. I can go to him.
Yeah.
Come to me." So that's what it's all about. So that is going to touch somebody, man. That's a powerful song. This album is a powerful album, I mean, every song, like I said, has a point to it. You didn't just waste your time
Yeah.
and do some songs like even Facade. I mean, that's an in your face song. That might open some ears and eyes and mouths and make people go, wow. I mean, you have a way of writing songs. You know, you were talking about closer to my home. I'm your captain. Now, was a prayer? You prayed for that song. What that was a spiritual moment, even 55 years ago.
Yes.
How did that happen? That song. That's the whole. I think the symbol of this album probably represents that song. Of course, what
Yeah.
happened?
Well, when I was saying my prayers, I put a PS on my prayer that night. And I said, God, would you please give me a song that would reach and touch the hearts of those you want to get to? And and when I woke up, 3 a.m., 3:30, whenever that was, it was long before daylight. But I didn't wake all the way up. I was not in a conscious, like you and I are talking. It was somewhere in between heaven and earth. And it wasn't like I said, okay, now here's the answer to that prayer. I had no thought like that whatsoever because I wake up out of dead sleep and I write things down. I've got a steno pad next to my bed because I've lost so many things, thinking I'll remember it, when I get up in the morning and never remember it when I get up in the morning. So I write it down now. So, anyways, I'm writing and I I knew better than to go back to the beginning of the song. Like a lot of songwriters, we will go to verse one and it'll inspire verse two, and we'll go back up to one and two, and it'll inspire a bridge or whatever, But we're always going back and rehashing the words to keep that fresh and alive in our imagination. But I knew that if I was to do that and take my eyes off where I was in the song, that it would be lost, like me, going back to sleep and saying, oh, I'll remember it in the morning. No, I knew that as I was writing, I couldn't go back to the top. I had to just keep writing down what was coming at that moment. And by the time I finished the last words with the bridge and everything, I was spent. My energy, it was gone. It's like somebody pulled the plug on me. And I rolled back under those sheets. I finished off my sleep, got up in the morning. Had a cup of coffee going in the kitchen there, and I grabbed my flat top, my acoustic guitar, and I started playing. I started. I'm going, oh, that's kind of a cool little lick there. And then I grabbed this chord, a C chord of inversion of a chord that I had never made before. And I'm trying to remember, oh man, I got to remember this. And I'm looking at my hands. And it's right then I had the unction to get the words, get those words. Maybe this is lyrics to a song.
Yeah.
Brought it out and I hit the red button on my cassette recorder and recorded it. And we worked it out in rehearsal that day. The guys really loved it. And the orchestra that Tommy Baker put on. Tommy Baker was the band leader of the Upbeat show in Cleveland, Ohio, and he did a magnificent job on the strings and the horns and all of the orchestration on this, as well as Loneliness on E Pluribus Funk.
Awesome. Uh, that seems to happen a lot when when you're writing songs, it seems, and even now, all these emotions come into the song. A lot of prayer. It's not just you by yourself. You've got a heavenly writer helping you. But it makes a difference. So it's in the tune. You got the tuning, the perfect tuning. You got the heavenly lyrics and the help. I mean that. I always say that when that happens, somebody out there, like you said earlier, needs to hear something. You're writing a song for them. but you're also writing a song for you, just like you were talking about earlier. And
That's
that's
right.
all the difference. Um, you know, of course, everybody loves Grand Funk Railroad, and you're part of that. And, I was thinking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know you talked about it before. What a farce for you not to be, for y'all not to be in there, right?
Right.
Is that something you even worry about, or is that just something you go, yeah, whatever?
No, I don't worry about it. The only reason I would even consider doing anything if they inducted us is for the fans,
Yeah,
because the fans that believe in it enough to think that we should be there, God bless them. I
yeah,
don't I don't need it because I know it's man-made.
yeah,
I'm not storing my treasures in something a man makes. My treasures are far beyond, brother.
yeah,
But I would, if it was to happen, I would definitely play with those other two guys and do a thing for the Rock Hall. I have been trying to get them to put the original band back together for 24 years now. Um, but that's okay. You know, God bless them. I love them. I love those guys. They're just off their path right now. That's
yeah.
all.
And, I think it takes a lot to say that. And we're not going to get into all that stuff, but for me, I think that you saying that is like a healing thing. That's what leads to healing. It's not, a lot of articles where this person talks about this person, and it's a constant battle. But
Mm,
when you're putting it
yeah.
all on the table and saying whatever happened, I'll let it go. I've heard you talk in interviews about forgiveness, and tell me this though, and I know about forgiveness. And it's a hard thing. Is forgiveness hard for you, or is it easy for you? And how do you forgive when somebody's still hurting you?
It's a it's a lesson, but if and because of my experience, not everybody has gone to heaven and come back to earth. You know, and since I have done this, uh, it changed my whole perspective. But maybe for this moment, Brother Gary, that we should speak about it. And I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not afraid of it, of course. But forgiveness, they think about forgiveness. It is the definition of love. And God is love. And God is the rewarder. Love is the rewarder of those who diligently seek it, not for the purpose of the reward, but you cannot sidestep it. You couldn't bypass it. There's no way around it. When you love with that motivation, recklessly abandoned to that motivation, you're going to be rewarded. That, my friend, is what keeps me going.
Right, right, and we'll continue.
Yeah.
And it leads to good things. And when you're laying it out and you're putting it out there, um, and one last thing about that kind of subject is that something you said they're in a different kind of place. Do you think they'll ever come to a certain place of understanding you? If I think that's the communication, talking about the harmony and the strings and everything. When
Mm.
someone totally understands where you're coming from, you think if they totally knew you and understood you, your heart, things would get better. Do you think that?
Yes, I do because, love is the healer. Uh, Love is going to take you when you die. You, that bone suit you're standing in, sitting in, living in, it's going away.
Yeah,
This place that we're living in, people, people look, you know, like they're living, like they're gonna live forever. This is collecting all this stuff.
right.
People are gonna be breaking your toys, son. I mean, the stuff that you collect. I want to store my treasures in heaven, Brother Gary, because I know because I've been there, and maybe that's why my confidence in saying this is because I've been there and I already know it has been confirmed. You can't get any more confirmation than what I got. And it's like when Jesus came back, I don't reckon, that I would ever uh liken myself to Jesus because, he's the only begotten Son of God. But the experience of being with God and then having to come back. Now that's something. That's something right there. Oh, and by the way, Gary, you told me to remind you, so I got to
You got to.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, thank you. And if you could summarize this album real quick in minutes, tell everybody why they should buy this album.
Should buy this album because it has got love in it. It has got explanations that are musical explanations that can untie knots. It is in 4/3/2. It is very compatible with you. And I believe you'll see a change in the earth, in the people, if you will sell out to love. And let this album, let this music help you along. Let it encourage you to give it all to love now, because love is going to get you anyways.
There you go. And always forgive.
Amen.
Right? Forgive.
Amen.
Well,
With the measure you expect to be forgiven with. Yes.
That's right. It works together. Mark, thank you. You know that you're awesome. I don't have to tell you. Hey, but great to talk to you again. We're going to do this again.
All right.
But you're awesome, and your music is forever and timeless, and I love it. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Brother Gary. God bless you. Thanks for having me again, brother.
All right, man. See you later.
Bye for now.
There he is, singer, songwriter, and guitarist, Mark Farner. What a guy. Great conversation. Hope you enjoyed that and got something out of that. Check out that album when it comes out, Closer to My Home, November the 8th. And until next time, everybody, keep the music real.